Hello, my friend. On today's episode, I'm here with Mr. Mark Fisher, and we are proudly announcing the launch of our new course, Gym Growth Blastoff, which might sound familiar because we had a similar product over the last year that we launched, but this is a brand new self-paced course. We're going to dive into like what is it, who's it for, why is it better than the last version, and whether or not it's for you. So if you're interested in leveling up your marketing game and building a real marketing machine in your business, then this is a great episode for you because we have some new and exciting tools available starting this week. So let's dive in. Hello, fitness business nerds. What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Business for Unicorns podcast. I'm here with Mr. Fisher today. Mr. Mark Fisher, how are you?
I am doing pretty good.
Yeah, how's your spring been treating you so far?
It's been great. Weather has been great. I've been drinking above my standard. I've been having too many martinis. So I decided I'm going to not only stop drinking, but I'm going to join a gym.
Wow.
I decided I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to take my
finally
advice.
Get into fitness.
Yeah, I have an apartment gym here in the city, which for people that don't live in New York City know, apartment gyms can be very well appointed, and ours is pretty well appointed, but it's pretty uninspiring.
Yep.
So I think I'm going to join the gym, but so far I've gone on some tours and not finding a love match yet. So, but I am learning some things. Maybe we can do a podcast about some of my experience with membership advisors at some of these gyms, because there's 100% probably some room for some of these corporations to up-level their SOPs.
We should do some secret shopping reviews on this podcast.
I kind of am. So big national brands that you all may have heard of. We are available for hire. If you need our help, we could help you.
It's so funny. I actually committed to like a new fitness journey experiment too, which we haven't even talked about. We're talking about it in real time on this podcast for the first time, which is a new Pilates studio opened up here in my house, Hudson Valley. And I haven't done Pilates in forever, but they have Cadillac and Reformer and the equipment. And I was like, I would go for like once or twice a week to see what that's like again. I used to like it back in the day when I was a dancer. I did that a lot. And I was like, you know what? Let's see what the old body does with the Pilates these days. Yeah. So I'm going to try it out for a few months and see how it feels.
I mean, I've always been we're getting really off topic. I've actually always been pretty bullish on gyrotonics specifically. Yeah. I mean, just the ball and socket joints are sort of the four knots of Chinese medicine of the shoulders and the hips. It just made sense to the utility of those exercises. I think are underappreciated, and there's just certain things that those vectors can do that traditional weight training can't do. But anyway, we're off topic. Completely off topic.
But listen, audience, we're not just people who talk about this space. We're consumers, and we're trying things for ourselves all the time. Well, let's talk about what this today's podcast is all about, which is we're launching, or I could call it maybe relaunching in a way, a product that might sound familiar to some of you, but it has a whole new life in a new form. And so the thing we're going to talk about today is Gym Growth Blastoff, which is now going to be launched as a brand new, all-encompassing, self-paced course that we are so excited about. So we want to spend this podcast talking about like what it is, who it's for, what you can get out of it, and then give away a few of the secrets that are buried within, so you can get real value from this podcast as well. But Fisher, maybe just give them a little bit of the high-level overview about what is this, when is it going on sale, like what are the details here?
Yeah. So essentially, Gym Growth Blastoff is a self-paced course that gives you everything you need and nothing you don't to get more leads and more clients. And this course was born out of me having lots of conversations with a lot of gym owners, some in the unicorn side, but also a lot of people that weren't ready yet for the unicorn side that I wanted to help. And in practice, the Unicorn Society, we do require a certain minimum number of clients. We, generally recommend being a certain level of revenue before you can have our help. But there's other people that want help and they aren't there yet. And the good news, bad news is a lot of what you need in the very, very beginning is like just marketing. Right now, I should say, as per our, micro nerdy conversation start off, this is also all assuming we're pretty good at the training product, but assuming that is dialed in and that the fulfillment is pretty good, then a lot of times we just need some very, very basic blocking and tackling skills around marketing. And I wanted to create something that could solve that problem. So we did a few versions of this that I did in real-time live coach, because I wanted to get in there, like get my hands dirty. Because this as trainers, there's things you don't learn unless you're taking people through the things. So before we put it into a course format, I wanted an opportunity to work with people. So we had maybe, I don't know, I guess like 40 something non-Unicorn Society members. And then
Yep.
I don't know how many Unicorn Society people, a lot more, did it over a few different offerings over the past, let's say, I think like maybe 8 months,
Hmm.
and learned a lot of stuff, kept iterating, kept tweaking from round to round, went back in the shop with Ben and Mike Branis on our team. And we've now turned into a self-paced video course, which is awesome because now instead of having to wait until we offer it like every once in a while, you can jump on in. It's also a much more affordable at this price
Hmm.
point, though it's, I know some of you might be sad to have missed your chance to have me personally coach you through it. The reality is the price is going to be very right for the value that you can get out of this. And we're really excited because, again, I just think that a lot of this is stuff that's I don't know that you need a lot. I mean, personal coaching is always helpful, but a lot of this isn't rocket science. It's just that,
Yep.
like, when you opened up a gym, you didn't really get a cohesive system for thinking about marketing, because, that may be the first thing I would say, and this might open up a vector of conversation, is that what a lot of people are missing when you have a gym, if you don't think about this stuff, you just don't have a system for it, right? You're doing things sort of
Hmm.
erratically. Some of the things are just not as effective. You don't know when you need to double down and do more. You don't know when it's the wrong strategy. You're not clear on, maybe you're not doing it very well. So we
Hmm.
really wanted to create as heavily done for you system as we could, with a lot of copy pastable scripts and templates and tools. There are some video trainings. We designed them to be very digestible, very, very short videos, because ain't nobody got time for that. You're busy. You got your gym, you got your life. So we really wanted to make this as actionable as possible to get you as fast as results as possible, with the completely non-ulterior motive of scaling up your gym so that we break it, because then you need help with fulfillment because you have now lots of leads and clients.
Hmm.
And then you'll hire us again, and then we'll get to work with you, and we'll help you figure out how to solve those problems too.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head for what my experience is on this topic, which is I find that marketing is the one area of people's business where people experience the most frequent overwhelm,
Yeah.
where they
Yeah.
hear things all the time. They hear and see things all the time about what they quote unquote should be doing.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
hear
Yeah.
people saying you have to have paid ads. They hear people saying you have to be crushing the Google stuff. You have to be crushing SEO. You have to be doing on social media. If you're not on TikTok, what are you even doing? Right? You have to be DMing people on Instagram every day. If you're not, but there's so many messages people are getting about what they should be doing to market their business, from business partnerships and referrals and there's so many things to consider that this is the number one thing that our coaching team hears when people get on. It's a topic people are most overwhelmed by.
Yep.
And we also, when we know, even when people with the best intentions and the most motivated gym owners, they get a little analysis paralysis. And it's just, there's so many things you could do, it's hard to know where to start. And so I think the thing that, you and the team has done really well with this course, you've made it really step-by-step kind of college course, right? And it goes through comprehensive, these are the things that work best, teaching you step by step how to make it the right size fit for your gym. And so it's, while there is a system we're teaching you, it's not cookie cutter, right? You can copy and paste, but we also guide you through making it like the right size for what you need. And I think that's what I think people are going to appreciate about this course so much.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think it is, it is interesting in that, maybe more so than some of the other people do. We have, not an unlimited amount of diversity in what we do. We work with group strength training, but the reality is, if you're a one-on-one studio versus a small group studio versus a large group versus a CrossFit, you're going to be applying these slightly differently. So we did try to focus on the principles. I think the other thing that was very interesting, and you always know this is going to happen, or at least we know this is always going to happen when you do it. Death by too much value. So it's funny because a lot of the changes and arguably improvements we've made to the program over the various iterations, we just kept ripping the plumbing out.
Yeah.
Like every time we did, we just kept taking things out because it's very easy, to your point, to get overwhelmed, and overwhelm is the enemy of action. And, on the one hand, there's not an unlimited number of things you could do to grow a brick and mortar gym, right? You don't have unlimited strategies you could consider, but some of them are almost always going to be more effective than others. And some of them are great, but they take longer to bear fruit. So a lot of our thinking and internal work on this course was, how do we make it as digestible as possible? So we're confident where we've gone to now is something that's going to allow you to move quickly and not get overwhelmed. And to your point, although there's a lot of copy pastable stuff, we try to also focus on the principles so that way you can adapt it, because different models, different markets, you're going to have to make some tweaks to it. So hopefully we'll get the best of both worlds in this
Yeah.
course.
Well, let's walk through just some of the modules and talk through like what are the systems that people are going to learn when they do this.
Yep.
We won't go through all of them, but what are the highlights
Yeah.
that you think are really essential to building really
Mhm.
a marketing machine?
Yep. I mean, the key things we're focusing on this course. So first of all, there is a little bit of stuff about like the model,
Hmm.
right? So the first thing we want to look at a little bit is like, do your numbers make sense, right? Because oftentimes one thing that we will usually recommend, and you'll see the benchmarks in there, whether this makes sense to you or not, is we might need to plan a price increase, right? So that you're charging enough, right? Because the goal ultimately is not just as many clients as possible. The goal presumably is a certain revenue goal so your business makes sense, right? And yes, that's secondary, of course, to making impact and doing positive things for people's lives. But if we're looking purely from the business piece, it's not really about having as many clients as possible. It's about having enough revenue that you can pay your bills and pay your team a living wage so that they're happy to have the job and you make enough money that's appropriate for the stresses you incur as a business owner. So that is a thing that is covered early on. I think there's one of the foundational pieces that we go to great pains in the course to help you lay out is what your calendar looks like,
Hmm.
which sounds silly, but like really like that's a thing that is often missing is we just haven't organized our day and our week in a way that we're consistently doing the things that need to move the ball forward. And then from there, you look into, okay, how are we leveraging existing assets, right? So people have heard me talk before, you probably tired of me. If you listen to a lot of my stuff, you're tired of me talking about it. And I'm tired of talking about it too, but I'm not gonna, because you need to hear it still, which is organizing our contact database such that we could start sending out offers to move people forward, right? Because a lot of gym owners have a network of people they're just not talking to regularly, or they don't have organized in any way that they can reach out to. And for a lot of you, that's going to be the low hanging fruit, right? We also do some work helping you audit, make sure your website is converting very well. We share what I think are the most effective strategies for generating new leads, right? Because arguably that's the big quantum leap when you take somebody in your geographic area that goes from I don't know you exist to knowing you exist. And again, it's not an unlimited number of things you can do there, and some that are going to be more effective than others. We share what our like banger strategies are we recommend. And then we move, once we have our offer crafted and we are generating these new leads, then of course we can discuss follow-up, we can discuss sales. So we have included our updated for 2025 approach to how gyms need to follow up, which I would note is different than I would have said even 12 months ago, frankly, as well as various scripts that you can use and adapt, both, again, the logic behind it, but also if you just want to copy paste the word for word and know exactly what words to say to invite a prospect on the phone to take the next step to come in, that's all baked out for there. So I would say that the course ends when they sign up for a membership. So again, there's a lot more you need to do than just run a gym. So I want to just keep reiterating, you need other things too, but everything up until like the membership sale is made is thoroughly covered in this course.
Yeah, I think it's a really great overview. That's amazing. So clearly, there's a lot of people who should consider doing this. Anyone who really wants to build a system for marketing, build a marketing
Yep.
machine, repeatable systems for generating leads and converting those leads. Most people should consider taking this. But let's ask the very marketing question of like, who is this course
Who
not
is this
for?
for? Yeah. I mean, I think the course is, yeah, I mean, it's kind of the usual. Like, so I think, listen, a lot of these things will scale to online stuff, but listen, if you're an online coach, I think there's some principles here you could leverage. You would just have like a different set of strategies. You can do this in a different order. So I think if you do online fitness
Mhm.
coaching, again, I hesitate to say you would get no value, but I don't think it's going to be as valuable. Right? This is really more for brick and mortar.
Yeah.
I do think, interestingly enough, this course, a lot of it will be value actually if you are an independent trainer. So
Yep.
independent personal trainers, I think, could do well with this. I think it is most effective for brick and mortar group strength training focused gym owners for sure. I think if you plan to open a gym up at some point, it's going to be useful. I think if you had to press me on another bucket of people that I don't know it's strictly necessary, is like, listen, if you feel like the marketing piece is dialed in, you might not actually need it, right? Because I must also maybe warn you here, there's no like magical silver bullets in here. If you're a deep student of gym marketing and you get very consistent results as is, there's not going to be new stuff in here, right? There's a finite number of things you can do. if you've read my book on marketing, right, there's nothing in here that's different, right? So I would say maybe that's another bucket of person that you can skip it. So
Yeah.
if you go to jimmarketingsecretsbook.com, you can download a digital copy of my book, a very short book, under 30-minute read, and it'll tell you here are the things to do to grow your gym. And if you feel like you're pretty dialed on that and you're happy with your marketing results, then I would skip this, right? Alternatively, if you read that book and you're excited about what to do, but you don't know how to do it, then this course is going to give you a lot more like soup to nuts what to do, right? I think another thing we tried really hard to do in the spirit of making this as no-brainer actionable as possible is it's really like a muscular to-do list, right? So that's another thing we worked really hard on. Is like very hard for me. It's like my ongoing journey. It's like cutting all the extra context and all the like, but what if you do. So this is like to-do list. Like you do the thing, you follow the thing step by step, in the hopes of lubricating your path to taking action. So that's maybe a little bit more about who's it for, but also some ideas of some people. If you're listening to that, you're like, oh, maybe I'll pass.
I think that's clear. And I also think that, one of the things that we should push more is I think it's a really good companion to the book, because the book really does lay out a lot of the thinking and the architecture of what the systems are. And then this is really like working through step by step how to do it, which I think is a great way of thinking about this. I'll just add one more piece, which is I think anyone who's going to do this has to be willing to invest some time.
Yes.
But if you're someone who's not willing to invest at the very least an hour a week to leveling up in this way, ideally more, then it's going to be real hard for you to take anything from this. I mean, just for context, there are, I think, 13 different modules plus some prep work in here. Mm-hmm. And in all those 13 modules, I think there's like 64 lessons, right? It is like a college course worth of materials, which is fantastic because it's very comprehensive, but it requires you to do the work. Each module is helping you work through a task, like Mark said, to do something, to make something. And so if you don't have the time, you're not willing to invest that time, that's a problem. It's not, you're not going to watch these videos and magically things will change in your business. It requires you to take some time to execute on these things every single week to build systems in the business. So if you're ready to do that, great. Dive in. You can do it at your own pace. But I think anything less than an hour per week is probably not super helpful.
Yeah. And of note, like that's an hour per week to absorb and take action on the material. Mm-hmm. The actual active marketing, I always say, like, you really need to be spending 3 to 4 hours per week on marketing, bare minimum. And if you're not pushing through plateaus, you might need closer to 10 hours per week on various marketing activities. And sometimes you are building out the system, you're building the plane, and sometimes you're executing the plane, right? So as an example, a one-off task is perhaps designing your personally preferred approach to a follow-up script. I would recommend you just literally steal ours, but that still will require you probably doing some light edits. If you're using an automation software of some kind, you're going to have to upload that as well. But then even once the plane is built, then you actually have to do the follow-up. So if you're getting good at this and you're getting leads, you actually have to do the things you need to be done each week to drive your prospects into conversations and then invite them to take action and sign up for a low barrier offer or a front-end offer. And then, of course, move into membership of some kind. I'd also note maybe one other situation where you might want to skip this book is if you truly know, like, look, I absolutely have no time. I need this done for me. Listen, sometimes there's a case to be made. If you have the money, just hiring a paid ad vendor, right? We work with a company called Gym Member Machine. We're always happy to make referrals. I've worked with them personally in a couple businesses. I think they're very reputable. So if you just want to give someone money and make the leads appear, that can work, but just to protect them in advance, because otherwise GR will be mad at me. Even there, we have to temper expectations. It is true, if you want a way to just immediately start getting 10, 15, even 20 leads per week, provided you're willing to invest sufficiently, that is absolutely doable. However, even then, you're going to have to do follow-up. You're going to have to do sales. So you're still going to spend time converting those leads into members, right? And I think that's the thing that's like hard to understand, particularly if you're early innings. If you're listening, you're only getting a couple of leads per week and you don't really follow up with people for the most part, because at this point, if they even manage to find you, they've kind of done all the work for you and they're super qualified and super smoking hot. That experience is going to change. If you get good at marketing, every point in the conversion funnel, if you will, is going to get a little bit less efficient. And that just is what it is, right? So I think it's important we temper expectations. And I would note this course tells you how paid ads fits in. There's no paid ad training explicitly in this course, in part because I think often but not always you will want to probably outsource that to a vendor that can take care of you. So again, if you're looking for leads to just appear, it will still take time, but we can make a recommendation. I would recommend consider it's a bigger investment, but I think it can be worth it. I think you should check out Gym Member Machine and tell them I sent you.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's a really important thing to consider, right? Is if you have the time, great. And if you don't, you need to pay someone, you have the money, great. It's a different project. All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot of this. I think even for those of you who this course is not right for, hopefully just us talking through these gives you some sense of the framework that you really want to be thinking about building in your gym, even if this course is not right for you at this time. But for most of you, should go get the course. How do they find it, Fisher?
They can click the link in the show note. I can talk through the URL, but you're not going to type it in, listener.
No. Let's go to the show notes.
So click the link in the show note. Oh, and as a reminder, if you sign up by May 27th, you will save $300 off the full price. We've already made it very, very affordable, but you'll save $300 if you sign up by Tuesday, May 27th. It's a little celebratory launch sale, because when people can do things whenever, they do them never. And I want to incentivize you to jump off the fence and come take the course. You're going to like it.
Awesome. Well, go click the link in the show notes, my friend. Do it before May 27th so you can save lots of money. And thanks for this chat, Fisher. I think it's a good one, and we're so proud of this product. I'm excited for people to go jump in and crush it using this. All right, I'll see you on the next one.